it says, consider the following inequality. I want us to solve this inequality and then go ahead and plot on the number line and then do interval notation again like we did previously. This one's a little bit more complicated, so let's go ahead and get started. So from here I'm going to first get rid of the number so I can get x by itself. I'm going to add 3 to the other side, add the 3. I end up with minus 3x is greater than or equal to negative 21. Now, here's the deal. Whoops, not 21, what am I thinking here? Didn't even do that math. Negative 18, sorry about that. Now, negative 3x, the thing with x is negative, okay? With inequalities, whenever this thing with x is negative, the number 18 does not matter if that's negative or positive, ever. Does not matter, okay? Whenever the thing with x is negative and you're dividing here, you got to flip that middle symbol, okay? So I have negative 3x is greater than or equal to negative 18, and I'm going to go ahead and divide by negative 3. Divide by negative 3. X is, becomes a 6. X is less than or equal to 6. You flip it to go in the other direction, all right? Now, I need to go ahead and grab that. Remember what I told you before. I go to the 6. Here it is on the number line. This is a one of these, the greater than, less than, or sorry, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, so I know it's a solid dot. Solid dot on the 6. Notice my arrow is pointing in this direction, and my x is on the left-hand side, which means I can use my shading trick we talked about, and then just shade. And that's all I got to do for that. Now we're going to go ahead and do interval notation. Okay, so where does this graph start? Well, we read left to right, so it starts at negative infinity. Where does it stop? At the 6. This gets a parentheses, this gets a bracket, and that's how you do it. Now I'm completely done with the problem. So let's go on to the next one. It says here, solve the formula for the indicated variable. We're solving for y. Okay. So to do that, I need to get x away from it. So you notice over here I have x and y. I'm trying to get rid of the x. I want to move it to the other side. A lot of students don't like these problems. They find them too complicated, when in reality you're doing a lot less math. So, just like I did before, I add 5x. Doing the opposite of what I see to get rid of it. I add it over here. Notice I wrote it a little to the side of the 13. Why? Because you cannot combine 13 and 15x. Why not? The 5x, I'm sorry, I said 15x. The 5x does not have, the 13 does not have an x. The 5x has an x. It has a variable term. They don't go together. So I break this down. Minus 3y is equal to 5x plus 13. The order here doesn't matter. I can do 13 plus 5x or 5x plus 13. Your teacher usually will put the x, the variable term, first. Now I can divide everything by negative 3 here. All 3 of these get divided. So I get y is equal to negative 5 over 3x plus, and then just leave this how this is, negative 13 over 3, or you can even just make this, take away the plus and just make this, minus, like that. It's totally up to you. Leave them as fractions, make them decimals. Most of the time it's just easier to leave them as fractions, okay? It's kind of a complicated problem, so you might want to look back at it and make sure you understand what I was doing when I was doing it, alright? You can leave the plus in there, like I said, or you could make it a minus like that. It's totally up to you. Okay, number 9. Number 9 says you know the perimeter of a square to be 14 meters. Find the length of one side. First, choose the correct formula. Well, how do you find perimeter of a square? I had some people talking about this one. That's great. That's for a rectangle. It's a square. So, perimeter of a square, we need to use this formula right here. That's perimeter of a square. The next one says, without substitution, so that's P, solve the formula for the unknown variable in terms of the known variables. They tell us that the perimeter is 14, so I know the perimeter. I just don't know the side. So I have P is equal to 4S. I need to get S by itself. So I'm going to divide by 4. And so I end up with P over 4 is equal to S. That's all they want, okay? So I solve for the unknown. S is my unknown. Then it says, finally solve the problem for the unknown value of the variable by substituting appropriate values in. Well, I know P is 14, okay? And I know that this is a 4 is equal to S. So I just go ahead and divide that, punch that into a calculator, and I end up with 3.5 is equal to S. So 3.5 meters is my final answer here. Alright, let's go ahead and look on the next one. Okay, solve the linear equation using equivalent equations to isolate the variable. So I'm getting y by itself. Well, these are all fractions. But notice they have the same denominator, so this should be pretty easy. I'm going to add the 2/3 to get rid of it, because I always do the opposite over here. So 7 plus 2, because I'm just adding the denominators, is 9 over 3 is equal to y. But I can go ahead and reduce that 9 over 3. If I divide them, I end up with 3. 3 is y. Easy as that. Okay, let's see the next one. Solve the linear equation and simplify your answers. So, this is going to be one where I need to get my x's on one side and my numbers on the other. I'm going to rewrite the whole problem out, though. This makes it easier for me. Now, this is what I like to do. I like to bring the numbers to the right side and the variables to the left. You can bring the variables to the right side, numbers to the left. You can do variables first. You can do numbers first. It's however you want to do it. It's however you were taught. It's however your teacher does it. There's no correct way to do this in terms of the order. So I'm going to add 13. Add the 13. Bring all the other stuff down. -1 plus 13 gives me positive 12. Okay. Now I need to bring my -8x onto the other side. Add 8x. Add 8x. -5 and 8x gives me positive 3x here is equal to 12. I just brought that down. Divide by 3. Divide by 3. X is equal to 4. And that's all I have to do for that one. Okay, let's look at the next one. It says find the unknown quantity is a given percent problem. Well, there's a couple ways to do percent problems. There's the is over of is equal to P over 100. Or sometimes, you were just taught to multiply them. 22% of 38 is blank. So you say, okay, 22%. Got to make that a decimal. Move that over twice. So then I get 0.22, and then you'd have 0.22 times 38. Well, that ends up giving you a decimal, 8.36. Now, I'm going to show you the is over of method. The is over of is equal to P over 100. This is always the percent. This is the number with is. This is the number with of. This can be tricky to figure out whenever you're first learning these. Now, if you look here, 22%, that's my P. Of 38 is blank. Some people get confused and think 38 is the is number, when 38 is the of number. So this would be x, because I don't know what it is, over 38, my of number, is equal to 22 over 100. From here, I just go ahead and cross multiply, and I'd end up with 100x is equal to 836, and then I would divide by 100, and that's how I would end up with 8.36 is equal to x. So either way, whichever one's easier for you, we have options here, okay? I find the is over of problem, the is over of way helps whenever you have more difficult problems. Okay, next one. So solve the linear equation and simplify your answer. Write your solution assimilate fraction or decimal around to a couple places. Well, we won't have to do that. So from here, these have different denominators, but let's just go ahead and get started. Doesn't mean we're going to be combining stuff. 7 over 6 is equal to 11 over 6. Okay. Now from here, I'm going to minus 7 over 6, because I need to get the numbers all together, minus 7 over 6. 1 over 9a is equal to 4 over 6. Now I can go ahead and reduce that, make that 2/3, and that's fine. We can do that. We can leave it as that. No problem. Now I have 1 over 9a is equal to 2/3. And if I use my reciprocal property, I can multiply by 9 over 1, multiply this by 9 over 1, cancels, and I get a is equal to 18 over 3, which ends up being 6. Or, if I have a calculator, I could just go ahead and do this. 1/9a is equal to 2/3, divide, and just do 2/3 divided by 1/9. I should still end up with 6. Either way, I get 6, which is the right answer. That's all we care about in the long run. We're going to move on to the next one. Oh, nope, I only have one more. I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Okay. I was thinking about stopping, but no, one more, we'll do it. So, is it solve the following formula for the indicated variable? All right. Here's the deal. This formula here, they want me to solve for f. It's going to be a lot easier to get rid of this 5/9 and not distribute it. Do not distribute it, okay? We're going to use the reciprocal property to get rid of it, because otherwise you're dealing with a bunch of fractions, you got to go back, and, you don't want to do it, okay? So multiply by the reciprocal, 9 over 5. That cancels that guy. I do it over here. That's going to make this 9 over 5c is equal to f minus 32. No more parentheses. It's out. Now from here, it's a simple plus 32, easy as pie. Remember, I cannot combine 32 and 9/5 c, because one of them is a variable and one of them is not. And so, whoops, kind of freaking out here for a minute. Plus 32 is equal to f. And so I solve for f. And that's all I need to do for this problem. Now, I want to say that, these practice problems should really help you study for your exam. Please go through and try to do these on your own. Refer to my video for help, for the answer, if you get completely lost. Just watching me do these is not going to help you learn the material. You actually have to sit down and work on your homework and practice on your own. Try doing them, and then checking your answers to see if they're right, okay? I want to say thank you for watching, and good luck on your test.